Okay, part 2 around grief, and this just isn't about me, this is about everyone. Okay, so let's sort of work. So grief from an energetic perspective can manifest through any of our chakras. So if grief makes us feel ungrounded, it can be through the base chakra or the eighth chakra, which is the bottom of the feet, which is why grounding is so important. It's why we need nature, why we need sunshine, why we need to get outside in the elements. That's really important to help to ground us to Mother Earth. It's why we need sunshine to help to get that energy from Father Sun. And that helps to integrate the 7 core chakras in our body. But the area that most people feel grief is through the heart chakra. And the heart chakra is very much about self-love, self-worth, self-belief. So when we are losing people in our world, or losing freedoms in our world, or losing trust in our world and energies and everything, and once again, this has been a huge year for so many people on the planet. And compared to our lives a year ago, it's just a different world. It's just a different world. And we have to hope the new normal doesn't stay new. Let's energetically put it out there that all the bullshit going on in the background isn't the new normal. Let's hope the new normal is togetherness and appreciation for family and friends, and that connection to life and love and everything that we really need to be aiming towards in our lives, not just the bullshit we've missed out on in the last year. So let's just hope that that's my aim. That's my aim. Letting go of the grief. Letting go of the grief. Okay, running that central meridian. And by the way, every time we're running that central meridian, energetically, those chakras, they're sort of just being woken up anyway. It's only 5 of them, but it's some of them. So because all of the chakras have like a spiraling energy. So as we're shifting that central meridian, we're actually also moving that chakra energy, which I think is really cool. Okay, so, and there's nothing wrong with grief, by the way. That's not what this is about. It's just allowing us to own it, feel it, know that it's just an emotion coming through, and there's nothing wrong with emotions. Nothing wrong with them. I can feel it. Okay, so I've got my map of consciousness off to the side, so I'm just going to see where I'm stuck in relation to grief. Okay. Well, interesting. So the grief isn't even showing up as grief on the map of consciousness. It's showing up as shame. So shame is linked in with depending on things. It's linked in with feeling miserable. It's linked in with humiliation. So it's that sort of energy where there's something about the grief. So maybe, okay, so thinking about humiliation, is there a time in our lives when we've felt humiliated and we've never been able to let it go? It's one of my little terrible habits is that I watch Bold and the Beautiful. Have been for a long time, 29 years. Anyway, so, but one of the things is they really push the shame. I feel ashamed, I feel ashamed, I feel ashamed. And then being Catholic, going to, when you go to confession, which I haven't done for a long time, but when you go to confession, I remember as a kid always feeling ashamed. So it's like that shame is just, comes in from many different directions in life. This is a pain and punishment circuit in relation to shame and humiliation that's blocking my being able to release guilt, being able to release grief. Interesting. Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Shimmy that energy. Anti-clockwise over the heart. That just helps to reconnect top, bottom, left, right, up, down parts of the brain. Okay. So that's moved us up to guilt. So we've gone from shame to guilt. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay. That's wanting to run away. So that's escape, submission, freeze. So wanting to escape rather than feel the grief. So guilt can be about those little parts of ourselves that can be vindictive or evil. Guilt can be about those parts of ourselves that want to blame everything. Guilt can be about those parts of ourselves that are destructive. And we all, well, unless we're perfect, which I certainly am not, there's always those little tiny parts of ourselves that we can't let go of because we know we've had that in certain parts of our lives in the past. Or maybe in the present, but I doubt you're here if that's you, but that's okay if you are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shimmy that energy, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999. So shame has an energy of less than 20 and guilt has an energy of 20 to 30 and neutral is up over 220. So we need to raise that energy. Okay. So we've just hit grief. So grief is the energy up to 75. Okay, so the throat chakra is holding energy as well as the base chakra. So it's base and throat. And grief sort of combined with the one below it that didn't show up, which is apathy. Between apathy and grief, it's when things are hopeless, things are tragic, and we get stuck in that, and then we start to feel condemning or disdainful. And I was sort of thinking one of the differences in natural, oh God, I can really feel that, sorry. Okay. I've had many clients over the years with cancer. And one of the things as a therapist that you need to do, and here in Australia I'm a naturopath, one of the things with clients that makes life easier, especially as a natural therapy, is to believe that everyone's on their own journey. I can give them the best advice in the world, but if people refuse to follow it, that's their choice. And quite often with cancer, the big stuff is the big stuff is actually those moment by moment decisions that people are choosing to make on a day-to-day basis. And it just becomes that too hard basket. And as a therapist, you just end up having to say, it's their journey, it's their life. When it's really close to you, it's a much harder thing to do. And I noticed that yesterday, when I was talking to Mum, I probably said a few things that I should not have said. So yeah, I'm just sort of thinking about that feeling disdainful of people who don't follow my advice when their life is on the line. And once again, on the planet at the moment, this is going on a massive scale, So there's a lot of grief for humanity at the moment as well. Anti-clockwise over the heart. Let's see if there's another layer on that. Yeah, right. There's some frustration, anger. So that apathy and grief can lead to regret, can lead to despair and despondency. So it's an emotion, it's good to feel it, it's good to let it in, it's good to let it out. It's good to just own that emotion. And with my dad's birthday yesterday, had a couple of Guinnesses and a scotch last night. Those were my dad's choices as well. Okay, pride is showing up next. Okay, so with pride, once again, let me check the chakras. Solar plexus. Solar plexus is the seat of power. Now, there is so much breast cancer in my family, for example, that there are many choices that I make regularly. So, for example, we know things like many breast cancers are insulin dependent. Many cancers are driven by carbohydrates, sugars, so it's that environment that those foods create that can allow cancers to thrive. So there's been a couple of Nobel Prize researchers on that. And I know that there's a few things in my life, obviously you guys see my weight go up and down. I just got back from a holiday, and yes, another 3 kilos back on. So now we're in the undo stage again. But so with pride, we've got to have that demand. No, we don't. You want to feel healthy, you want to feel safe, you want to feel like you're doing what you can for your health. And I think that's one of the challenges, is that especially when the medical and big pharma industries are designed to say, we don't know what causes this, we don't know what causes that, and they're after a one answer fits all, which is frustrating. They want the one virus, they want the one toxin, they want the one adjuvant that's in drugs, that they can point a finger at. Like 20 years ago, it used to be the aluminium in the underarm deodorants, that they knew was linked in with dementia, but they also knew that it was linked in with breast cancer. And no one discusses that anymore because they swapped the adjuvants in vaccines from mercury to aluminium. So it's almost become a topic that isn't allowed to be discussed again. Okay, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. Serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. Let's get those feel-good hormones whizzing through. $9.99, $9.99, $9.99, $9.99, $9.99, $9.99. Okay, where's our map of consciousness? Okay. Neutral. So we've hit neutral. So yay. I think it's going to be a big few months or big few years, depending on what happens. As if we need something else to throw into the mix. Okay, level 4. Escape, submission, freeze. So the brain even wants to run away from being neutral. So neutral is about trust. It's about release. It's about enabling what will be to be. So it's about having that universal faith, that spiritual energy, that ability to stand up and go, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Sorry, I wasn't going to make it about me. Sorry about that. Okay. Allow the grief, release the grief. Release the frustration that it's not over yet. Really take care of yourselves. Once again, that Andrew Reid interview with Del Bigtree yesterday was just... Del Bigtree had it on his program last week. And I'm so glad I heard it. I'd been hearing about it for a couple of weeks, and I went looking for it, and it was hard to find. So life is good, life is good, life is good. Take care, everyone. Bye.